car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier.
Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Ivan Struckel, owner of Frontier Motors. And for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking about cars. And we're not talking about just Frontier Motors and the fact that we want to sell you a car. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the industry, some of the things that's new and kind of exciting, and what's happening not only nationwide, but also in our neck of the woods. Now, Frontier Motors is an independent used car dealership. What that means is that we sell used cars, not new cars, but we do have cars that are like new, some as low as 50 and 100 miles on them. Not 50,000 or 100,000, I'm talking about 50 miles or 100 miles on. A lot of times I can buy cars that are brand new at the auction as long as I sell them as used cars. And of course, the whole thing about it is saving you a ton of money when you decide to buy a pre-owned car. And the other thing we do is we educate you of what's going on in the car industry as far as new models that are out, good models, bad models. But probably the most important thing that we do at Frontier Motors is give people free advice. What I mean by that is that maybe you're not in the car market now, but maybe you're in the car selling market right now. Let's say you've got a car and you say, well, I'm going to do the Dave Ramsey thing. I'm going to go down from 3-car family down to 2 cars, or perhaps 2 cars down to 1 car, and you're going to want to put your car on the market. Well, what we can help you with is not only tell you what you should be asking for that car, we can also do the free history report for you. Wouldn't it be nice to have a Carfax report that you can include with the advertisement of your car? And if you purchase a Carfax report, they cost a little over $40 these days. We run them for our customers at no charge, even if you're not a customer. Just anybody in our marketplace, if you need a Carfax report on a car you're either selling or buying, then you call us and we will run it for you at no charge. And even if there's 3 or 4 cars you're looking at, perhaps you're in the market to buy and you're at one of the smaller used car lots in town that do not give you a Carfax report because they have to pay for them also. I come in with an umbrella coverage where I can pay one fee and I can run as many as I want. And that's why I offer that service, and that's why I signed up for the service, to be able to offer everybody a free Carfax report. But it's kind of a helpful tool to sell your car. It's also a helpful tool to buy your car. Any appraisal that I do, whether it be at auctions or from private individuals, the first thing I do is I run the Carfax report. And one of the reasons that report is very important, because not only will tell me if the vehicle has ever been in an accident based on insurance reports and police reports, but it also tells me when the vehicle was originally registered. Does it have any warranty left? Are there any outstanding recalls, safety recalls? Is there a mileage discrepancy? Matter of fact, when I talk about that, we have a customer right now that's trying to sell us a Honda Accord, and he says it has 75,000 miles on it. We ran the Carfax report, and the last 5 oil changes, it had 145,000 miles on it. And then it had 147, then it had 150. So the customer's telling me he's got 70 because that's how he purchased it, but there's something wrong. Either there's a mistake in the system, and he took it back 4 times to the same place every time the mileage was wrong, or there's something amiss. Maybe a speedometer went kaput and rolled back somehow. I don't really have the answer to that, but you want to know that before you put your money down and go ahead and buy that car. Sometimes also I'll take a look at it to see where the vehicle was originally born and how long was it up there. For example, if the vehicle is from Canada, how long was it in Canada? If it's a newer car that's 1 year old and it's been up north, I don't worry about it too much. But if the car's 5 years old and it's from up north, then I get a little bit more into the taking the vehicle and having a better inspection done. I want to know about rust. I want to know about suspension system defects. I think most people know about rust when you go up north, but they're not aware that the roads are not as good up north as they're down here because of the constant freezing and thawing, and it plays havoc on your suspension system. So I take a look at where the car's from before I make a purchase on it, especially if I'm buying it at the auction. So the other thing we talk about a little bit is what's going on in the car industry. And the exciting news to me is there's always new stuff coming out. And as a matter of fact, they have a new Bronco. If you haven't heard about it, the Ford Bronco is coming back. The Bronco Sport, which is the small Bronco, was already introduced about 6 months ago, and it's actually on the dealer's lots now. I've seen a couple of them on the road already. It's a cute little Bronco, but the one I'm looking forward to is the real Bronco, the big one, and that is going to be delayed a little longer. We're talking about maybe another 3 to 5 months before some of the basic ones hit the lot, and the more loaded ones, the ones with the higher content, like the leather interior and things like that, that's going to be another 8 to 12 months away. But it's kind of cool because the first Bronco, they auction off at the Barrett-Jackson auction. And it is a car that has a $63,000 window sticker, and the ID number was 001. It sold for $1.1 million. And I thought that was very interesting. The other thing also was, if you haven't heard about it yet, but Hummer's coming back with an all-electric vehicle. It's really cool looking. It actually looks similar to the old Hummer, and that's going to be all-electric. It's going to have about a 300-mile range. It's supposed to have a 1,000 horsepower motor. Can you imagine that? That is almost impossible, crazy, and probably dangerous. But that vehicle is going to come out in about 6 months. It has going to have a retail price of $112,000. The first one they auctioned off at Barrett-Jackson auction, it went for 22 times the original window sticker. It sold for $2.5 million. And the good news about that is somebody got themselves a pretty cool car. They got themselves the #1 car, and all that money went to charity, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's kind of cool news. And on a negative news, I read that Tesla is in a little bit of trouble. Tesla buyers got online and they started complaining because Tesla buyers were being overcharged. I don't know if you know this or not, but Tesla doesn't really have any dealerships. You buy them online. And to make money transfer, you got to give them your bank account. Well, there was a glitch in the system, and the customers, hundreds of customers, got charged double. And the problem, that can happen. Got screwy, he's got electronics, something go on the fritz. But the trouble was that they had trouble getting their money back. After numerous calls and numerous emails, they got the runaround for days and days and days. And that was kind of disheartening. You talk about customer satisfaction, and Tesla got some bad press out of that. I'm assuming this was a month ago, and I'm assuming by now everybody's got that situation straightened out. But it was kind of disheartening that they couldn't even get anybody to answer the phone. So Tesla is very interesting because the Tesla stock keeps going up and up. And from what I'm hearing is that they still have yet to turn a profit. I think last quarter they actually had a meager profit, but they've been out for over a decade now, and they are still turning a profit. But the stock is going crazy. One thing I've got to say about Tesla is even though they don't have the best reliability, they have the best customer satisfaction, according to Consumer Reports, of any model out there. And it used to be the Jeep Wrangler had one of the best customer satisfaction, because people buy a Wrangler and they love it, even though Consumer Reports doesn't rate the Wrangler very good at all, but people love them. The same thing with Tesla. They don't really rate the Tesla very good. There are no service departments, for example. So there's some issues when you buy a Tesla that you might go through when you have a problem. Fortunately, a lot of it can be updated right through the cloud, and you can do it electronically if there's an update, if you have an electronic problem. But the customers love them. And there's a lot to love. If you ever drive a Model S, we've had a couple of them here on the lot. We're not a big electric town yet. I see some of them driving around town. A lot of them are being sold. Most of the electric cars are being sold in California. California is the first state that mandated, I think within the next dozen years, that you can't even sell a gasoline-powered car anymore if that actually goes through. I'm not sure how the current governor can say what you can do when he's out of office, because I think there's term limits over there. But it's really interesting that, and General Motors has jumped on that bandwagon. I think they said by 2035, General Motors is not going to produce a gas-powered car anymore. They're going to be all electric or hybrids, a combination. So that also is very interesting based on the fact that we sell a lot of cars, folks. We sell between 150 and 250 cars every single month. And we don't hardly ever sell an electric car. And it's not because I can't get them. It's because nobody asked for one. I'm going to stock what people ask for. If I had people coming on the lot, can you get me a Tesla? I'd go buy a Tesla. Matter of fact, I think the oldest vehicle that we have on the lot right now is a Tesla Model X, which is their SUV, which is kind of cool because it's got the rear gull-wing doors. If you've ever seen them, there's a couple of them around town. We've had that vehicle for over 200 days. I have it for sale. It's only got, I think, 16,000 miles on it. It's about $35,000 less than a brand new one, and I have still yet to have a taker on that car, which supposedly is in hot demand. But if it's in hot demand, it's not in hot demand in Pensacola, that's for sure. So I don't stock electric, so I'm kind of frazzled as why everybody's talking about they're going to be only building and selling electric cars. They might know something I don't know. I still have a little bit of range anxiety, and I have charger anxiety, which means that I'm not sure if I'm going to find a charger when I need one. I've got family in Wisconsin. Every once in a while, I'll drive a car up there because I actually like driving. Some people like flying and getting there in 5 hours. I like driving. I don't care if it takes me 16 hours or 2 days. So, and especially if I've got a really nice car that I can drive. And a Tesla is a very nice car, but if you got to find a charging port every 300 miles, how do you know if you know where they are? Because there's apps for that. But how do you know they're available when you get there? What if there's people lined up to use it? And they got them in some hotels, but people park their car, they plug it in, they charge it all night long. They only have 2 or 3 chargers, and there you are out of juice. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that neck of the woods. Frontier Motors going on 25 years in Pensacola, folks. We started here with 25 cars. We stock between 350 and 400 cars. We're actually down. The reason I bring this up is because we're down in our inventory right now. I just looked the other day. We're a little below 300 cars. So, and one reason is because last month we delivered 234 cars. So what that means is I need to buy 234 cars. Now, we've taken some in trade, and we buy some from private individuals, but that's what this commercial is about right now, is that if you have a car and you want to sell it, we are paying top dollar right now for cars, and we are able to have enough buyers on hand. We have 4 total buyers, but we have 3 of them here at all times. And one of the reasons we do that is so that if you need a buy bid on your car, we advertise that we can give you a buy bid on your car within 15 minutes. And one reason we can do that is because of our telephones. Our telephones now have apps on them that are appraisal apps. For example, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but every car has a barcode just like groceries when you go to the grocery store. So I scan the barcode on your car. I take the car around the block. I put up probably not even a third of a mile just to make sure that everything runs good and it takes the bumps good and it doesn't drive crazy. So, and then it kicks out a value on your car. It also kicks out that Carfax report I was talking about. And we can put this all together and do comps and what are going for an area within 15 minutes. And within 15 minutes, I can give you a buy bid. And if your car's paid for and you got the title in your back pocket, you sign the title, I give you a check. If you're in the area, we give you a ride home. If not, call Uber and away you go. Take your tag off, cancel the insurance, you're done. The other thing we can help you with is we can do a consignment. Let's just say hypothetically I offer you $20,000 for your car. And you say, Ivan, that's a good offer, but I really want to get maybe 21 or 21.5. Well, my next comeback would be, well, what if I put it on consignment for you at 21.5? What that means is that you will get that amount of money once the vehicle is sold. Might be our average turnaround time. The last time I checked was about 38 days was the average term, because people always ask, well, how long is it going to take? Well, I don't know. That Tesla, I thought I was going to sell within 30 days, and it's still here 200 days later. So you never really know when the car is going to sell. But our average turnaround is quite fast. People are always surprised. We had this happen last week where a customer put the car on consignment. He didn't get home and we had it sold. Because we've got 13 salespeople here and they all have customers that call up and say, hey, if you get this, then call me. If you get this, then call me. I'm looking for a Chrysler Pacifica minivan. If you get one in a blue one or a light silver, call me. Well, if we're buying one like that from you, the next thing you do, they're on the phone before you even get home. I got one in. So they go ahead and sell that car real quick like. So we do pay top dollar. And one reason I mention that is because if I buy a car at the auction, which we get about 20 to 30% of our cars come from auctions. Now, don't get scared of auctions, folks. Years ago, that's where dealers took their junk. Not anymore. The auction now is exchange. You know, if a Lexus dealership takes in a diesel dually, it goes to the auction, and they use that money from the diesel dually, and they convert it into and buy a used Lexus with that money. So it's an exchange. But when you buy one from the auction, you've got to pay the auction fee. You've got to pay the buyer that you send there to the auction to buy the car. Then you have to ship it. And then, of course, you have to recondition it because you don't know if the oil's been changed, stuff like that. So we do all that to the car. That is anywhere from $900 to $1,500, depending on the price of the car. So if you bring me the car, I can include that in my purchase value to you because you're bringing me the car. So I can pay a little bit more than what I normally would at auction based on the fact that you are doing everything for me. And that's why I spend a lot of my time talking about buying cars more so than selling cars. And one reason is because being here for 25 years, most of our customers that we sell car to are repeat customers or referrals. Now, how do you get referrals when you're a used car dealer? Used car dealerships don't exactly have the best reputation. Well, we do. Matter of fact, if you Google Frontier Motors, you're going to see that we have a 4.8 Google rating, and that's unheard of in the used car industry. And why is that unheard of? Because people, when cars break down, they get mad at their dealer and they give you a bad review. It could be a year after you bought the car. You could just be mad at the dealer for any reason. So it's really hard to have a good review on when you're running a used car operation. And one reason is because we make sure, number one, when we sell our cars, the cars are top-notch cars, reconditioned properly. So if the car needs, for example, if we see that it needs a starter, we don't let it go. We put a new starter in. If it's got a chip in the windshield, we either fix it or put a new windshield in. If the tires are edgy on the inside, a little bald on the inside, we put new tires on it before we deliver the car. So you don't discover, a week later that, hey, I might need tires on this car and I just bought it. So those are the things that we do different. We safety check our cars. We want to make sure that when you take that car home, that car is a good car. And even Consumers Reports, my latest Consumers Report magazine on page 9 says the used car sweet spot. This is according to Consumers Reports. 2- and 3-year-old used cars are often the best values when shopping for a car. Their price is lower than comparable new cars, obviously, and continuing expenses such as collision insurance and taxes are lower. Obviously, if you pay $10,000 less for the car and the tax rate is 7%, you're going to pay $700 less taxes. Insurance is less expensive because the value for replacing that car, if it gets totaled, is less. So it obviously makes sense. 2- or 3-year-old vehicles have already taken its biggest depreciation hit and may still have warranty coverage left. For example, the Hyundai, the Kia, they have a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty. So if you buy a 3-year-old Hyundai or Kia, you still have 2 years of factory warranty left. It's really interesting on a side note that Honda and Toyota, which have the good reputation, they only give you a 3-year warranty. And Hyundai and Kia, they give you a 5-year warranty. Very, very interesting. I love selling Hyundais and Kias, just like I like selling Hondas. Well, for that matter, I like selling them all, so it doesn't really matter. But I have better luck with some models than I have with other models. Buying used is also a way to get a nicer car. You can afford a nicer car. So let's say, for example, you like a higher end car, but you can't afford it new. Well, you go back 2 to 3 years old. Now you can afford that car. Let's use a Genesis, for example, a brand new Genesis, which is Hyundai's luxury division. If you didn't know that, if you see a Genesis out there, that's like the Lexus of Toyota or the Infiniti of Nissan or the Acura of Honda. So now Hyundai has a luxury division called Genesis. Well, a Genesis, a loaded G90 can run $70,000, and you're thinking like, I'm not paying $70,000 for a car. But what about if you buy a 2-year-old one for $45,000? And what if that's too much? Then buy one that's 4 years old and get one for $30,000, and maybe that's in your budget, but now you're getting a Genesis. And you can say the same thing about a Lexus or a BMW or a Jaguar. Matter of fact, a lot of the Highline luxury cars depreciate much more than the non-luxury cars. For example, a Toyota Corolla, you're not going to take a loss on a Corolla like you would if you bought a Lexus. And that just makes common sense. You buy a $100,000 car and they lose 27% of the value in the first year. Well, you're going to lose $27,000 on a $100,000 car. If you buy a $20,000 car, you're not going to lose very much at all, even though it'll still be a value if you buy it used. Also, you can get a safer car. The newer cars come with blind spot monitoring. They come with laser automatic adaptive cruise control. They come with lane change assist, pedestrian detection, backup cameras. And these features are very expensive when you buy new. Might put the car out of range because there are options on a new car. So if you buy that car maybe 2 years old, you could get those safety features included in the price of the car. And it also says the reliability. One thing that has made used cars more appealing is there improved reliability. I remember years ago when I got in the car business, I mean, a car would barely last 100,000 miles. Consumer Reports now says a car will last without having any major defects between 150 and 250,000 miles. So quite a bit better on the reliability ranking. And it also said that in analysis, Consumer Reports analysis of 2018 model cars reports 40% fewer problems with a 5-year-old car than those of the same age back in 2014. 40% less problems. The other reason you might want to buy a new car is because the bugs are out of it. You know, you've heard of bugs. You know, you get that new car and you're driving it for 3 or 4 weeks, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. Even though the quality is much better than it used to be, there's still some issues that can go wrong with the vehicle. And there can be recalls and safety recalls, and that is all paid for at no charge, but it is a pain in the butt. What do you do if they don't give you a car to use? Now you bought this brand new spanking $40,000 car. You got to take it into service to get a recall done. Might be there for 2 or 3 days, and you're going to be without a car. Well, if you buy that car, it's 1 year old, 2 years old, all those things are already taken care of. So it makes it a little bit easier as far as being able to have that permanent transportation. New car industry is having some problems, folks. We got a microchip problem. Microprocessor chip problem. You know, when the pandemic hit last year, the car industry canceled a lot of their suppliers. They called them up and say, hey, you know, we're going to have to step down because nobody's coming out, nobody's buying cars. We don't know how long this is going to last. So they screwed up. And one of the biggest things that they screwed up on is the microprocessors that run these cars. They run the transmissions, they run the laser cruise controls, they run the ECMs, electronic modules on the cars. And the chip maker said, no problem, we're just selling the Samsung and Apple. So they diverted all their chips to someplace else. And here we sit a year later, and guess what happened? The car industry took a dive for about 2 months last year, and they came roaring back. The stock market's doing good. For Frontier Motors, like a lot of dealers, we had the best month we've ever had in 25 years last month. What does that mean to us? Well, we're running low on inventory. And what does that mean to new car dealers? Even worse, because they're selling 100 to 150 cars a month, but they're not getting 150 cars a month. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. So what are they doing? They're raising their new car prices. And it's not unusual to go to Car City and see the dealers put a dealer markup on their cars. Now, some dealers have been doing this for years and years. I know, I'm not going to mention them by name, but I know that there's one dealer that's been doing that since Frontier Motors has been open. They mark all their cars up about $2,000 over list price. Now, they used to do that years ago because they wanted to have the ability to negotiate. And now they're putting that dealer markup on it, and they're not negotiating because they're running out of cars. They're scared they're not going to have any inventory in the next 4 or 5 months. So what does that mean to you? Well, 2 things. You're going to pay more to get that car, that new car. The advantage is you're going to get more if you have a trade-in. Now, if you don't have a trade-in, if your car got totaled, you're pretty much out of luck. You're going to be left to pay whatever they're going to be able to get from you based on inventory. So I'm hoping that this is not going to last for a long time, but it has lasted for the last month. And I'm not sure how fast they can turn this around. But right now, it's probably a better time to buy a used car, pre-owned car, than buy a brand new car. A lot of the new car inventory has been depleted. And what they have left is the cars that are what I call the ugly cars, the ugly colors, the ugly color combinations. You know, you got a car that's got bright red interior. I'm not a fan of bright red interior, but I see a lot of the luxury cars like BMW and Lexus especially, they have bright, well, that's what's left over on the Lexus lots. You look at their inventory, red interior. Some of them have blue interiors, believe it or not. So the leftovers are there. So you go to the lot and you want the pearl white with tan interior. They don't have one. So what do? You come to Frontier Motors and buy one used. And that's what it's all about right here. And like I said before, Consumer Reports said 2 years ago, they actually put in writing what I've been talking about for years and years. They said that the first year depreciation on the average is 27%. That is a lot. After that, it's another 14%, another 16% per year. And that's why you guys have put us on the map. Like I said, we started 25 years ago with 25 cars, and we have shown the people in the Pensacola area that it pays to buy a used car as long as that car looks like new, it smells like new, and it's easy to buy. What I mean by easy to buy is how you buy that car. When you come in to Frontier Motors and you pick out a car, the first thing you're going to ask, well, I know what the list price is because we give you the list price in writing. We have this made up every week. It's our inventory with the NADA values and the mileage of the car, the equipment of the car, and how much we have it advertised for, what our original retail price is, and then what our advertised price is on the internet. And the first thing you're going to say is, well, can you do any better than that? And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. So the salesman goes to the manager and says, hey, customer wants to know if we can do a little bit better, and we'll look at a cost. We'll make sure we make a profit, but never rip you off. And we'll put that in writing. Then we're going to add the taxes, and we're going to give you an out-the-door price. Includes everything. If there's a dock fee, if there's a tag transfer, if there's a title fee, if you have to buy a brand new license plate, we're going to put that all on there so you know exactly what you have to finance if you're going to finance it, or you know exactly what you're going to need to write that check for. And then if you're not sure that's the best deal out there, we urge you to go shopping, which is unheard of. Now, why do we urge you to go shopping? Well, number one, so you know that we do have the best deal, or if it's not the best price, that we have best deal, which is the best car for the money. Not necessarily the best price. Our car could be $2,000 more, but if our car has got $5,000 more of equipment, or 10,000 less miles, or is a better color and is in better condition, we're going to have the best deal. But we're one of the few dealerships that don't ask you what you want to pay. We tell you what it's going to take to buy the car. If you have a trade-in, we're going to tell you, we're not going to ask you what do you want for your trade. We're going to tell you what we'll pay you for your trade. We're not going to ask you what you want your payments to be. We're going to tell you what your payments are going to be based on your credit rating and based on how many months you want to go. We give you this information in a matter of minutes so you can take that information, digest it. A lot of our customers I've bought before, they just say, yes, it's in my budget, I will buy the car. We already have programs that tell us what the other dealers have and what they're charging for their car, and we can share that information for you to make you feel comfortable about buying the car without having to go shop at other dealers. Now, Ryan's telling me that I've only got a couple of minutes left, which means that we're going to tell you where we're at. We're at 230 Beverly Parkway. If you don't know where that is, we got a big 15-foot buffalo out front. He must have grew because last month I said he was a 14-foot buffalo. But anyways, I think it's 15 feet. Either that, I'm shrinking. But that is our sign. And we have, well, right now I think we're down to just a hair below 300 cars, which leads me again to advertising. We need to buy your car. Do not put it on Craigslist. Don't put it on Facebook. Bring it here first. And we'll tell you what we'll pay, what we'll consign it for, and if you do want to sell yourself, what it should bring on the open market based on that. Now, we have some advantage because we have a lot of customers that come in that don't know what they want. So that's why the consignment works out really good. So if you've got a Volkswagen Jetta for sale, well, maybe the customer coming looking for a Honda might end up driving out with your Jetta. And that's why the consignment works really good for everybody involved. FrontierMotorsInc.com, that's our website address. Don't even worry about that. Just type in Frontier Motors. We are the biggest in the nation, so we come up first. We'll have 31 detailed photographs, if not more. All of our cars have prices. Pick up the phone or text us or email us, and we'll tell you what your out-the-door best price is within a matter of minutes. And we've got to run now, folks, so thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Looking for the best car, SUV, or truck? Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.